Tell me when you're ready. Count down. I was a little disappointed that I didn't see you pan the camera so that everybody could see the audience. Oh, you did? Oh, I missed it. I missed it. I'm sorry.
Notice where I sat? That camera doesn't turn.
You, I was just saying, that's strategic.
Uh-huh.
Always thinking.
I was just gonna look at it. I'll put it right. No, that's fine. Yeah.
You ready? Okay. All right, let's go ahead and call our Monday, December 21st regular meeting to order. Time is 6:30 PM. Let's have a roll call, please.
Mark Sandberg,
Here.
Jason Lacy,
Here.
Travis Kramer,
Here.
Scott McCorney,
Here.
Walter House.
Here. The Open Meetings Act is posted on the wall. On the consent agenda, I believe we had some questions on some of the payments, so we'll see if we can answer those and still approve it all at once.
First of all, going back to front, there's one item in there for payment to the sheriff's department on $50 for it.
That's for a warrant for the nuisance. The nuisance property that we had to have a warrant served.
I would suggest to the board that at some point you look at your ordinance. I think it's crazy for the village to pay for the ordinance as opposed to whoever's getting served. No, I would suggest that you guys look at that at some point.
Don't put the cost of serving the papers in as far as punishment of a nuisance property.
Well, yeah, I don't think it should come out of the general budget to do that.
Well, that's what worries me. If, you know, we're gonna do this again and have more fees, and what do we get out of it?
That's right. So that'd be one suggestion at some point. You guys look at that. There's a bill in there from OPPD several bills were broken out. One was fairgrounds and ball fields.
Yep, okay.
I was questioning what that was for. What do we have at the ball field that's using power?
I don't know if it's just for the service. John, do you know what we have at the fairgrounds ball fields for electricity?
What we have,
Yeah,
you mean, as far as bills?
yeah.
What down there is using power? You had an OPPD bill for like 134.
That wasn't the fairgrounds, was it?
Is that the other ball
I think it
fields?
was the other ball field.
But listed as fairground ball field.
That I could not answer, Mark. The only thing I know that runs down there is a scoreboard right now. Is it's LED lights. I wouldn't think it burned that much power.
I always thought they lumped all the ball fields and the fairgrounds into one bill, is what I thought.
I don't think they do. I think we have separate bills on them. There's separate meters.
Meters down there.
Okay.
Because AYS pays us for the other.
For
ball
the
fields.
ones, the two rivers. Mark, I can't think of anything else that would be running right now.
I didn't know if there was heat in the concession down there.
No, I don't even think that's not heated. We have all the water heater and everything else is pulled from there right now. So,
So again, I think you guys need to look at that. We're paying $134 for power down there. It's going someplace. If that's where the bill is going. And if it's going to light the scoreboard, I question whether that's a village responsibility.
correct, yeah.
All right, well, we'll check into that. I'm sure we can get a meter number off the bill, figure out where that meter's at and what's going on with it.
Then the last question I had deals with the Visa bill. It lists a charge for a late payment and finance charges.
I noticed that as well.
They usually take that off when the next one comes. Sometimes they cross, the bill comes before they process our payment. So when
I've
we get
asked-
the next bill, it'll be deducted.
And I've asked this question before, why isn't it immediate pay and they're still charging us? And we have had that problem and they have credited us for what they put on their bill. This is why we had to change those guys to an immediate pay. Because they were just very unflexible about their billing cycle and it didn't work with our third week meeting
Well,
for approval.
that's fine. I just
So-
want to make sure that,
We've had this problem before and generally they credit us back. So
Mark, going back to the OPPD, that's the ballpark one for 134.30. Is that the one you're talking about?
yes. I just want to make sure that we're not, village isn't paying a late charge or interest charge.
I've asked this question before and we've checked into that and gotten credits for it. So I don't know how we can do it much better. They send the bill out on the first. And is that what that was dated? I think it was dated the first.
That one's not an immediate pay though.
I thought the Visa was.
Verizon, Shell.
The Shell
and
card.
Bechtel's. We can make it an immediate pay if you guys want to.
Maybe that's our problem. Maybe we need to make that an immediate pay so that we don't have to look at those charges.
Well, the payment due date on this is 12/26. That's after our meeting. So
What page is it, Mark? Do you know what page it's on?
for what?
The Visa bill? 13?
It wasn't too far down.
Oh, it's up in the consent.
I just had it. It's after
Oh,
power
I got
tool.
you. Yep, I got you. It is 13. And it's for under the other charges. $50.58.
Well, we can treat that as an immediate pay.
Okay.
I think it's important to do whatever you need to do so that we don't get, the village doesn't have to pay any late or interest.
Is there anything else?
No.
All right, thank you for checking on those. Would anybody like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Nikki, we have a motion and a second for approval of the consent agenda. If there's no further discussion, let's vote on that motion.
Jason Weesey,
Aye.
Travis Kramer,
Aye.
Scott Corney,
Aye.
Mark Sandberg,
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Aye. The election results are right here. We had 571 votes for Scott Corney. Unfortunately for Gordon McGee, we got him in there late and probably not enough time to advertise. He had 21 write-in votes. It's nice to know you've got friends and family, huh? We had scattered write-ins, an amount of 57, which I think Santa Claus usually accounts for a few of those, but they don't tell us who those write-ins are if they're not registered. So I doubt if we could get Santa Claus to show up for the swearing in portion of our meeting. So. That's the notice of the receipt for our election results. Anybody have any questions or comments on that? If not, let's move on to item A of unfinished business for the second reading of ordinance 663 to reassign floodplain management duties. So that would be the third paragraph on the page of readings and passage of ordinances, if someone would like to make a motion for the second reading.
A motion for the second reading and passage of ordinance number 663, which reads, an ordinance of the Village of Arlington, Nebraska, creating floodway and flood fringe districts, defining the same and setting forth regulations thereof.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Nikki, we have a motion and a second for the second reading and passage of ordinance 663. There's no further discussion. Let's vote on that motion.
Scott Corning,
Aye.
Mark Sandberg,
Aye.
Dixon Lucy,
Aye.
Travis Kramer,
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Aye. Okay. Take it down here. Item B, discussion and possible approval of declaring 120 Elm Street a nuisance property. I'm kind of torn on this at this point. We were trying to fight a lot of overgrown stuff that's died off. Now we've still got some trees and stuff growing around there, but like we talked about earlier, it costs us money to have warrants served for this, so. So what do you guys think we should do? Should we?
Currently, is there someone living there then or not?
No, this is a house that's in process with the NRD for a potential flood buyout.
I understand it's a rental property.
It is.
Okay.
It cost us $50 to serve papers on the last one we did, so we're questioning whether we should have that in our ordinance that that the complainant pays for those charges, and we don't have that now, so at this point, you probably see it as much as anybody here. Is it worth the village doing that at this point, you think, with the?
Well, somebody mows it 2-3 times a year. I don't know if it's you guys or if I think it's somebody else, but.
We've made several calls and they did get somebody down there to
2 or
call.
3 times, probably every time you call, but
Yeah,
it's not that they're really watching it. I know the doors are ajar and the cats and everything, other coons and possums are in it, so.
unfortunately, the NRD moving on these properties was slow before the big flood, and it's
Now,
I would expect it's gonna take longer now, but let's hope it does. Those last two houses we did, I think we were at 4 or 5 years.
At least 2.5.
Yeah. I know we had one board member who was off the board. He started with that project as one of his new projects and he was off the board. So it was at least 4 years for 2 of them.
And the trailer is getting mowed, but it's kind of loose.
Now, the other thing is that if we're gonna press the NRD to do something about these properties, did ask me one time when I posed this question to them, well, are they a nuisance? Have they been declared a nuisance? So maybe it's worth the serving fee to get started on that process, and that helps us push the NRD.
Is that building secured or is it?
No.
I don't believe so.
If animals have access to it, then I think you go ahead and list it as a nuisance.
Can we add that to that complaint at this point, unsecured building and along with the weeds? Or is that gonna cost us another month if we do that
Well, the weeds are the only thing that was on the notice.
on the,
I know the garage door is open and I'm pretty sure the side door of the house is also open. I've never actually walked in it, so I don't know for a fact.
you don't see the sheet in our packet where we had on the other ones where it's marked what the complaint was.
It's only weeds.
Okay,
But you maybe could declare the weeds, and in the meantime, we could send notices about the lack of security.
If we haven't done it, said anything yet.
I think you send somebody down there, check it out, make sure if it's open, then next month.
and we do one notice. I think that makes more sense.
Yeah, let's table it till next month.
I don't think you let it sit and wait for the NRD if you have rodents and animals that have access.
Well, it's not the only property. We've got 3 others that I wouldn't want to go in now. I mean, I was in inspecting these in the 30 days after the flood and I wasn't comfortable and some of those I know nothing has happened in the 12 months since then. I wouldn't go in some of these buildings. So as far as I'm concerned, everything we're waiting on the NRD to buy out is probably a health hazard. So
I think you need to move on it then.
let's get everything typed up next month with the notice of unsecured building and everything that we can see. And we'll do it then. We'll table item B till next month. Item C, discussion and public comment regarding dog park. Mr. Kinkle, I know this was your item, so we'll let you go first.
I guess I'm not really for it. I don't really have a choice. There was talk is using the alley for parking. Is that something we're considering?
The good thing that right now is you're coming up to comment during the planning stages of this. So, you know, if you have a concern with parking in the alley, that's what we want to hear. You know, we want to hear what people think and where we should park. I know we've got 2 driveways off of First Street. That seemed like a logical place for me
A lot
to
more
put in
sense.
driveways. But
And that's the other thing with lighting, that the lighting would just be on First Street, not in the alley. Because there'd probably have to be some type of lighting unless you're just sticking with streetlights. I don't know what the plan is. But the biggest issue with it being a dog park would be that there's I guess, an 8-foot privacy fence from the south border of the property to the north end of Todd Cooper's property. He's not for it either. Not that he's gonna spend the time to come up here, but I think he's in bed by now. Works about 2 o'clock in the morning, I think.
you don't like the idea of a fence that tall, or you don't?
I would want a privacy fence 8 foot tall across there. Because I don't want to, every time I step out my door or get home, have a dog barking at me.
Mhm.
Because you got that now, even with the neighbor's dogs, you walk out the front and they're out there barking at you.
Mhm.
It's not that they don't know who you are, they just bark. They see somebody. I can't see a dog being out there not barking at somebody they see, but I guess it's possible. And then I guess the responsibility and the hours of it, is there gonna be hours? It's gonna be fenced. I take it. As far as dog doo-doo or what smell or, I don't know how the rules are being wrote up for that. I know I helped my son put in an 8-foot privacy fence on his property line because of dogs barking, and we literally were stepping in it, crawling in it to put the fence up. And that wasn't even a dog park, it was just a neighbor that didn't take care of it. It's not a pleasant thing. Let's see. So I really don't know what the dog park does to the resale, because I know a couple of neighbors are worried about that. I and the other neighbor are worried about it. Todd isn't. Todd don't ever plan on moving. As far as the property value, I would think, well, there's gonna be something there, so a privacy fence to me would probably make it non-objectionable.
Mhm.
But it wouldn't have to run the whole route, because if you get the rest of that property down there, it
I
would
would
be
think-
open to however.
I would think a privacy fence abutting any private property would be a reasonable request and something that I would think the board would probably have no objection to.
Sounds great.
Yeah, like you said, we'll have to do something down there, whether it's just
Yeah.
grass.
Yeah, that's it. There's gonna be something.
It seems like we've got plenty of park space. This has been something that's been talked about for
Yeah.
quite a while. We've got a committee of people that are really interested in doing something like this. So hopefully we could find people to help us manage that.
My first thought was, there's no way I wanted to think about it. There's gonna be something there, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of brainstormed for a few months of what to
Yeah.
put there, anything from the gardens or something else would come up. That was kind of the top of the list. And
Yeah.
as far as all the details, I don't know if they're all set in stone anyway.
Well, no,
Yeah.
but lighting a privacy fence, and.
To me, this is the
All
perfect time to
concerns,
discuss
yeah.
about these things.
All good
There
concerns.
won't be any lighting. It's a dusk to dawn thing, so it's when the sun's out that
Yeah.
the dog park is open.
They won't be adding any lighting.
No, we won't be adding any lighting.
Okay.
And the parking is actually 15 foot wide on the opposite side of your property where your house is.
Okay.
The parking for the dog park is on the other side of the alley and actually north of your house. I don't
Okay.
believe the dog park fence even reaches your property.
I don't know, I did.
It doesn't at this point.
I seen
It's
it,
just to the edge of Todd and Marcy.
yeah, I seen a picture of it on the Facebook, but I can't, there's no locations or any markers to go off of to understand what it really is.
So it starts off the north end of that property where Elm, right? That's Elm, right?
Oh, yes.
Elm.
Ellsworth. Ellsworth.
Is the
So
north.
Ellsworth,
Ellsworth is the
so if you're
north.
at Ellsworth and there's the ditch,
Yeah.
then you've got then it's open. It's 240 feet from that
Mhm.
point to the south. Okay,
Okay.
and then it runs, I don't know if it's 140 wide. Are we 140 wide? I can't
Up
remember.
to 180, I think.
How wide is?
Yeah, but there was the right of way on the First Street and then there was the setback for the parking beyond the alley. So
Yeah.
it narrowed up close 120, 140 somewhere in there.
It seems like 140 hits my mind.
Yeah.
So the parking, it'll be parallel parking next to the fence, which would actually be north of your property and east of the alley.
Okay.
There'll be a shelter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see there was a proposed shelter, but like I said, couldn't really
You'd be,
see how it was.
so the alley's wide open.
There was no markers
Struck
to
the alley.
tell what was where it was really where.
Is it gonna be a lockable gate that people can't get in there at night then? Like kids getting in there
No,
and
that's, no,
messing
the
around?
maintenance gates should be lockable,
But the others won't.
but the others will not. Otherwise, somebody physically have to go down there and unlock them in the morning and lock them at night.
Yeah. And I don't
There'll be
know
signage that will say.
if there's no
during
lights.
daylight hours.
Yeah, if there's no
Yeah.
lights and that
So how much of that?
fence, I don't think.
And that'll be easy to enforce for law enforcement. I mean, that's not a subjective thing. It's
They drive
it's
that.
either daylight or it's not.
Right,
I did lay out there
it's a,
too.
it's a daylight.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, most of our parks are, it's daylight.
If
Yeah.
they're a little bit longer here,
Pretty close, yeah.
I'm just thinking there's no, I mean, I understand. the concern.
And then a couple of other things were that we'll have trash barrels
Yeah,
for dog, and that's part of the rules, is that you pick up your dog's trash.
okay,
Those of us on the committee will be
Yeah.
helping to police that too, and reminding
Okay.
people, hey, if you want to be here, you know, your mess, that's part of the.
All right.
Is that a done deal though? I mean,
sounds good.
We've committed money.
oh, okay. Well, I mean, first.
Yeah, what other questions?
Well, the lighting, and it sounds like there is gonna be no lighting. The parking, which you just explained.
Privacy fence.
Resale,
Yeah,
the
we can
privacy
look at
fence is a
privacy
big
fence
thing.
now and maybe add that. to
Resale, I
the-
know there's no way to really determine that, so I guess
just-
there's no sense discussing it.
I feel like
I like that.
we're adding to the community,
Yeah.
whereas there's two nuisance properties sitting right
Oh,
there
yeah.
that don't help your
It's-
property value,
Yeah,
that need to be gone. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping we're adding something positive and
yeah.
nice to the area, improving it rather than,
And we are working really hard in
Yeah.
raising money to make it look really nice.
Well, and I guess,
Landscaping and.
yeah, the only
Maybe some-
advice is it does flood up to a certain point, quite a bit. So when you're putting things in, once you get to that trailer, basically anything below that is gonna
and that,
flood.
and that's why that's why the city,
Yeah.
that area cannot have a structure built on it. So the post and beam structure, water has to be able to run through it.
Mhm.
Obviously, chain link fence, if you remember the flood, if you looked at the chain link
Oh,
fence
yeah.
and the trees that had to be cleaned up because the flood and the water ran
Yeah.
right through them. So with what we're building, the water should run right through it. If anything, there'll be cleanup,
Mhm.
maybe some, painting or staining of beams or something like that, but
Yeah, well.
water
and
should
the-
not, hopefully not.
The way the water moves, you won't have the debris inside the park, it'll be on the outside.
Right.
Any other discussion? Anybody have anything else to say on that?
Throw it.
All right. Well, I thank you for coming down.
For 200.
We always appreciate it when people come down before there's,
Yeah.
concrete poured.
Yeah.
Starting from the.
It's a lot easier to fix problems before they
That's
happen, so.
I'm not on Facebook, and then my wife does get on there and she's
Church 25.
bringing it up, and I do appreciate the chance to talk about it.
All right. Well, thank you for your time and thank you guys for your efforts.
That's how wide.
Let's move on. Item D, discussion of trailer ordinance. We've got Scott, you've had some suggestions, doing some research. Who'd like to comment first on this?
Well, last month we kind of reviewed an ordinance that I think we kind of adopted from Fremont, I believe. Right, so we still had some questions of how long we should allow a hooked up truck and trailer to remain on the street. So I did some research with some other towns, seen what they had, and I just kind of typed those up for us to review and seeing if we had any other thoughts or.
So when we word this detached, I think that that rules out anybody coming home for the weekend and wanting to load their boat or their camper. If it's attached, it's not included in this ordinance wording here that we've got. So we could put a strict limit on that, say 24 hours for an unattached trailer, if that's what we would like to do. What do you guys think?
I think anytime you put a time frame on it, it's not gonna be enforced.
Well, we have to do something. I mean, we can't just, I don't feel it's fair to outlaw it altogether. So we have to put some kind of a time frame on
Like,
that.
you can have a trailer as long as it's hooked up to something.
And
Then
that's what this wording says. It says designed to be pulled behind a motor vehicle to park such trailer detached from its motor vehicle. It shall be unlawful to park that kind of an item detached from its motor vehicle, except when such owner is performing a service adjacent or budding property owner, and then for a period of no longer than X amount of hours, which we should decide. And provided that the detached trailer does not impede the safe flow of traffic. You can detach it if you're a contractor and you have a current building permit. That would be the only other reason you could detach it. So there's two reasons that you can detach the trailer. If you're a contractor, or if you are providing service, performing a service, or the adjacent abutting property owner. And we can put that period in there, no longer than 12, 24, 48, whatever number of hours we want to pick.
Or you
I like
could
the
just-
way
you
this
could-
is worded.
You could just strike the and only then part of it. Can't you?
You said last month, you made a comment about not having any unattached trailers in the village.
That's what I was saying on that. So you can strike the only then for a period of no longer than, right? Won't that do that?
So it would say, it shall be unlawful. And you want to take out the number of hours?
Yeah, because they can't do it whenever it's detached, correct? Won't that do that? Unless they are working actively on their property or the abutting property.
Yeah.
Is any park trailer that is attached falls under your other ordinance?
Your normal parking ordinance, which would be 72.
The ordinance says you cannot park more than 48 hours in a 72-hour period. So that regulates attached trailers. If you don't want any unattached trailers other than that are working,
That's what we've got here.
I know, then pass that ordinance.
Well, I do like Jason's comment that we don't even need the time frame,
That's right, you don't
If
need
we're-
something.
because if you are,
Because they're either actively working or they're
you're
not.
either working on it or you're not, and there's no reason for it to be parked. Our streets are not made for storing people's
Correct.
excess. So if somebody wants to read this ordinance with that change in there,
Does everybody agree that does that make sense, that change or no?
that makes sense to me. You're gonna strike
Strike,
and only for a period of no longer than blank hours,
correct.
and you're gonna put,
All the way through the provided the location, right? Impeding the flow of traffic, you get rid of all of that, don't you?
and then you just
From
go
after that
to any
comment.
detached trailer belonging.
So you would go, so strike here. All the way to there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
but provided, because you don't have to worry about this.
Right. So do we need an
Because
hour?
we're saying
Do
that
we
it's
need it?
never, if you never want it at all, unless you are actively.
Belonging to a contractor with a current building permit may be parked in an area where the vehicles can legally park on the street longer than. Do we need that part of it?
Park on the street longer than, right now it's 12 hours.
What would keep someone from filing for a building permit?
To just be able to park it on the street all the time.
You effectively bought a building, a parking permit by doing that?
So when you get a building permit, you have what, a year to complete the building, and then they can just renew it every year. Is that what you're
Right.
thinking?
Is that why you need the hours there to?
It says actively working on the property with a building permit and location. Then we're gonna have to challenge whether they're actively working.
Or if you keep the hours in there, even if they are working, some sort of limit to how long they can leave it sit there, even under that building permit.
it shall be unlawful for a detached trailer belonging to a contractor with a current building permit to park, wait, this doesn't make sense to me the way it's reading. A detached trailer belonging to a contractor with a current building permit may be parked in an area where vehicles can legally park on the street longer than 12 hours. Why does that number have to be 12? Why can't it be our normal parking? What number do we need in there?
Or
I
do
think
we
that's
just,
what
or
we
do we
have to
just put
figure
a
out.
period here and it's done? You don't even put the rest of that on there because.
Period
they'll
after
take
what?
care of that, right? Because whether you're a contractor or you're not a contractor, they have to actively be performing a service for that adjacent or abutting property.
And the trailer has to have a placard on it.
Yes. So you want to strike the longer than 12 hours? It seems like if we'd strike the longer than 12 hours, contractor with a current building permit may be parked in an area where vehicles can legally park on the street as long as the contractor is actively working on the property. Strike longer than 12 hours. Does that make sense to you?
Yes. Because it's either me, the owner of that trailer, or the construction worker or the contractor.
John, does that sound like what we're going after?
Like you said, if it, like Mark mentioned, if it's attached to the trailer, then it's with the regular
And it's
parking.
regular
So we're
parking?
covered there.
Yeah.
Mike is on if you want to ask him. his-
Mike has a
his-
comment.
Yeah, Mike's got a comment.
Yeah, let's open up Mike Robinson. Mike, I'm sorry, I wasn't watching for you. Do you have any comments on that?
No, my, excuse me, my question would be be better to list the actual hours, such as from 8 to 5, 8 to 6, 8 to 8? If it says 12 hours, would the hours start over, say if they left for parts or equipment or for lunch, when they came back, does that 12 hours then start again? That would be my question.
I think we're leading towards striking the whole 12 hours out of there altogether. It's only going to be legal if you're parked there during our normal 72-hour parking, or if you're a contractor with a valid building permit. That's the only way it can be parked unhooked from the vehicle.
Okay,
Does that make sense to you?
yes,
Because I think we'd like to get rid of all the time frame. That seems to be our biggest headache is keeping track of that. And that's obviously something that you guys don't want to be doing, is sitting there with stopwatches and
So we
chalk
have to worry
marks.
about what performing a service means.
I think this makes a cleaner ordinance.
I'm a window washer, I'm washing the windows. My trailer is sitting there. I unhook it from my truck to go eat lunch. Could it potentially get towed during that time because I'm not actively cleaning the windows? Just asking. I'm trying to think through this thing because I'm tired of dealing with it all the time. I mean, there's gonna be someone who tries to find a loophole all the time, but
Technically, the way it's worded, it could get towed. Or no, does it have to fall under the 72-hour parking first?
the 48 hours within 72 hours.
To park such trailer detached from its motor vehicle on the streets, except when such owner is performing a service for adjacent or abutting property owner. So you could argue that you're there performing a service, but you're at lunch.
But you have to have a placard on your trailer.
For a building permit, not for performing a service.
Well,
That's why I said a window cleaner. That's a service.
So So if you're getting a building permit, you're gonna have a placard issued by the building inspection department, which that'll be another thing that'll be hard for us to get done. If do they come here for every building permit, or can we have Blair do that for us?
They come here first.
Every building permit, okay. Mike, do you see an issue if we have someone performing a service goes to lunch? Do you see an issue with trailers getting towed during a 1 hour period?
No, I don't see that gonna be an issue at all.
We're not waiving, we're gonna let this go for 3 months or what?
You know, chances are if they're doing work inside residence, we wouldn't see them working anyway, so.
No.
Them going to lunch or they're working inside, we can't tell if they're actually working or not, so I don't see it being an issue.
I would like to do something on this, get a first reading on something. If the board's not comfortable with what we've got, we can certainly revise it and try again next month, but I feel like we've been kicking the can for a
Yeah,
while.
we've been,
Yep, I'm ready to go. I
Throwing
just
this
didn't know if
for-
we want to waive or if we want to let it go for 3 months.
I
don't believe it qualifies as an emergency situation.
Mark, do you feel like qualifies as
I
something?
move to introduce ordinance number, what's its number now?
What ordinance do you have on that? Number do you have on that?
664.
664. That reads, an ordinance of the Village of Arlington, Nebraska authorizing and imposing rules and restrictions on the parking of detached trailers in the Village of Arlington, Washington County, Nebraska, providing penalties for violations of this ordinance herewith and providing for an effective date. Be it ordained by the chairman and the board of trustees of the Village of Arlington, Washington County, Nebraska, as follows. Section 1, it shall be unlawful for the owner or operator of a truck trailer, utility trailer, boat trailer, horse trailer, or other trailers designed to be pulled behind a motor vehicle to park such trailer detached from its motor vehicle on the streets in the business or residential district of the village, except when such owner or operator is performing a service for an adjacent or abutting property owner. A detached trailer belonging to a contractor with a current building permit may be parked in an area where vehicles can legally park on the street as long as the contractor is actively working on the property with the building permit and the location of the detached trailer does not impede the safe flow of traffic. A placard issued by the building inspection department showing the address of the permit issuance date and expiration date shall be attached to the trailer, visible from the traffic side. Section 2, any person who violates any provision of this ordinance shall be subject to the penal provisions of the Arlington Code, and the village may have any vehicle towed in violation hereof, and such towing shall be at the owner's sole expense. Section 3, that all ordinances or parts of ordinance in conflict herewith are hereby repealed. Section 4, this ordinance shall take effect and be in the force after its final passage and approval as provided by law. Need a second on that?
Have a motion and a second, and Nikki, you'll document those changes that we made to the draft ordinance within next time. And then next time we'll only have to read the beginning paragraph, I would believe. All right.
get a second, yeah.
Thank you for falling on the sword on that. Read.
I'll second that.
We already had a second, didn't we? Okay, we have a second. We have a motion and a second. Is there any public discussion on that? If not, let's vote on the first reading and passage of ordinance 664.
Travis Kramer.
Aye.
Scott McCorney.
Aye.
Mark Sandberg.
Aye.
Jason Weasey.
Aye.
Paul Christ.
Aye. All right. Good to have a start on that. Item E, read correspondence from our tree lighting committee. To the Village Board of Arlington, thank you for your support of the first annual Christmas tree lighting event. We appreciate you wanting the community to have wonderful and family-oriented events. We're so excited to see a great turnout and hope to see the event grow each year. Sincerely, Kelsey Wolf and Cheryl Abbott. Hope everybody got a chance to view that, it was a lot of fun. It was easy to social distance in the park, and we did get a good turnout, and I got a lot of positive comments from people that live by the park, that even after the lights were lit, so that's good. Item F, Mark, we would like to recognize you for your service to the Village of Arlington. Got a mantle clock here that says Board of Trustees Mark Sundberg in recognition for 14 years of outstanding leadership and dedicated service to the citizens of the village as a board member from 2006 to 2020. I know you also put in a lot of extra time on the planning commission. Your wealth of knowledge, especially on procedural rules, is going to be missed dearly. Hopefully we can keep up the legacy and step it up. So thank you for your service.
Well, thank you very much. I would like to take the opportunity to thank the people of Arlington. I've been blessed to have the opportunity to serve in this capacity, and I really appreciate it. Thank them. I would admonish the board, though, that to remember the old adage, what's right's not always popular, and what's popular is not always right. So, thank you very much.
You bet.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have a motion to adjourn sign die. I think we can have a quick break if anybody wants cupcakes, or did you want that on the way out of the meeting?
You're right.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to enter into
To
or
adjourn.
adjourn. Yep.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting, sign die. If there's no further discussion, let's vote on that motion.
Corning,
Aye.
Mark Sundberg,
Hi.
Jason Weasey,
Aye.
Travis Kramer,
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Aye. right, when you're ready, okay, let's go ahead and call our reorganizational meeting to order. And we'll start with the swearing in of our new board members. Why don't you guys go ahead?
I've never been to something.
Put them over here. I'll stand over here and.
Gonna do it, yeah, both at the same time, yeah.
Time together.
Do it together?
Right? Unless you want to do it separately.
No, that's good.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, raise your hands.
I'll go first. I, Scott McCorney.
I, Gordon McGee. Do solemnly
You guys can do it together now.
Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Nebraska
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely
without mental reservation and not for the purpose of evasion, and that I will faithfully and impartially perform the duties of the office of member of the Village Board of Trustees of Arlington, Washington County, Nebraska, according to the law, to the best of my ability.
And I do further swear
That I do not advocate nor am a member of any political party or organization that advocates for the overthrow of the government of the United States or of this state by force or violence.
that during such time as I am in this position, I will not advocate nor become a member of any political party or organization that advocates the overthrow of the government of the United States
Or this state by force or violence.
So help me God.
So help you God. There, we got that. Okay, gentlemen, sign them in front of me.
Right.
Congratulations, gentlemen.
Thank you, Your Honor. I know you had a busy day. Thank you for your time. Thank you for waiting.
Thank you for calling me, John. Like I said, I got enamored with those stars. And then I was playing with Dale Corus's grandkids. I'm like, oh.
Scott, thank you for reconvening.
You bet.
Okay. We need to do a roll call next. Vicki, why don't you go ahead and do a roll call for us?
Travis Kramer,
Here.
Scott McCorney,
Here.
Gordon McGee,
Here.
Jason Weasey,
Still here.
Paul Kraus.
Here. I noticed the Open Meetings Act is still on the wall. I don't know why, but we have to say that at the start of everything, so. Reorganization of board and commissions. Normally what we do is if everybody's happy with their old positions, this would be the time if you would like to see, if you're a previous board member and you would like off of your committee, I think this would be the time to ask. Otherwise, it looks like we may just stick Gordon with cemetery and parks unless there's any objections.
I have no objections to those committees.
Everyone else okay with the committees they're currently serving on?
Yep.
All right, then we'll add Gordon McGee to cemetery and with Scott McCorney and parks with Travis Kramer. So then we'll go to item A, reorganization of board and commissions. And this is written as a resolution, so we'll just need a motion for the passage of a resolution in a second. Passage of resolutions is at the bottom of that page for the instructions.
Move to introduce resolution number 12212020B. Be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of Arlington, I'll try that again. Be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Arlington, Washington County, Nebraska appoints the following persons for the village department categories and department commissioners as follows. Village Departments, Depository Bank, Two Rivers Bank, Village Auditor Erickson and Brooks, Village Attorney Tim Schultz, Village Clerk Nikki Harry, Village Treasurer Ort Myron Associates, Village Emergency Manager Daniel Douglas, Village Engineer JEO, Village Street Superintendent Steve Parr, Village Physician Dr. Monty Sullivan, Village Prosecutor Adam R. Tripp, Village Newspaper Arlington Citizen, Village Streets and Parks Commissioner John Rosenthal, Village Cemetery Sexton Trevor Ganuzzi. Department Commissioners appointed as Water Sewer Travis Kramer, Paul Kraus, Cemetery Scott Picorni and Gordon McGee, Streets Jason Weesey and Paul Kraus, Police Jason Weesey, Scott Picorni, Parks Travis Kramer and Gordon McGee.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Let's vote on that passage of that resolution, please.
Scott McCormick,
Aye.
Gordon McGee,
Aye.
Jason
Aye.
Weasel, Travis Kramer,
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Aye. Resolution 12212020B is passed and adopted this 21st day of December 2020. Okay, now we'll entertain motions for nominations of chairman.
I motion to nominate Paul Kraus for the Village Board of Trustees Chairman.
Second.
You guys aren't gonna let me out of it, huh? There's no other nominations. We have a motion and a second. Go ahead and vote on that motion.
Gordon McGee,
Aye.
Jason Weasel,
Aye.
Travis Kramer,
Aye.
Scott McCormick,
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
I'll abstain. Item E, election of Village Board of Trustees Vice Chair. I think it's legal for me to nominate on this one. I would nominate Travis Kramer.
I'll second that.
Is there any other nominations? If not, we have a motion and a second for the nomination of Travis Kramer as Village Board of Trustees Vice Chairman. Let's vote on that motion.
Jason Weasel,
Aye.
Travis Kramer,
Abstain.
Scott McCormick,
Aye.
Gordon McGee,
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Aye. Okay. We did the resolution. We might have done that backwards. Should we do that again? We don't have to. We were all sworn in.
It's fine.
Yeah, we don't have to worry about that. Okay, let's go ahead. Let's move down to item D. We've had Brian here waiting quite a while. Brian, thank you for your patience. Sorry we had to put you behind all that.
No, you're fine.
Brian has requested to appear regarding waste cans for dog waste along the walking trails. What would you like to see?
Well, I just like you guys just mill it over and, I mean, we guys know where I live and that sometimes it's just nice to not have to pack your dog waste around. Yeah. If you could have like trail up by our house and then down by the Bell Creek there, you know, have something. I'd even be willing to empty them out if you tell me where you want the stuff at, you know.
Yeah.
And just because I walk around the section around the cemetery, I walk around that section, let my dogs loose. It's just nice. You wouldn't have, because I've been putting it by the stop sign there and, you know, I don't want to carry it, you know, it'd be a mile, you know,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah,
Just something to think and and that, and I think people would use them. I mean, there's quite a few people that walk around the softball fields there and that have dogs and stuff.
When this came up, I had realized that I had had a request in the past to put bag stations up at the very least. The whole subject of who's gonna clean it up always seems to be kind of the sticking point.
Yeah.
I wonder if we put bags out and ask people to, police after themselves, if that would be better than nothing. But I don't know. What does the board think about having cans?
How many trash cans do we have around town currently, aside from what is being discussed here?
On the walking trail is what you're specifically.
Yeah, and then even
I mean,
west part of town, up where they fill for the fire trucks, where they fill them real fast for your tanker trucks.
Yeah.
Maybe something there by that artillery gun or something,
Yeah.
Just something to think about, like I said, I'd be willing to empty them.
Is your concern more based on you not having to carry a bag so far, or people not cleaning up after their?
I think people would pick up after themselves. It's something they would be more apt to pick up after themselves.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah, there are a lot of piles around, if I walk the softball complex sidewalk, there's quite a bit there, but.
I just, I would like to see people clean up after themselves instead of adding another job to what we do, but I would certainly be for anything we can do to help that, to help people clean up. And
I just usually use like a, supermarket plastic bag, certainly inside out.
Yeah.
Tighten a knot. Like I said, I'd be willing to empty them. If you tell me where you want the trash put at.
Well, we'd probably get into liability issues if we had somebody doing that and get hurt or whatever, but certainly something for us to look at. I don't know what the rest of the board thinks. Does anybody have any comments?
It doesn't get picked up around the trail at all, around the softball.
I would love to find an idea that gets it picked up.
Yeah, no, I don't have the idea. That's what I'm saying. Maybe it is providing a trash can. I don't know.
and my only concern, I know I've seen them before where there's just a little garbage thing in there with a liner, I would think even if they provided something and there were dumpsters that the garbage department could get at, that we didn't have to handle it twice, during the summer, sit out there too long and they stink too.
Oh, yeah. Fills with water.
I understand.
I get both sides of it.
Yeah, if it gets rain in it, then it intensifies the smell that much more.
Well, why don't we task the Parks Committee with researching this and coming back to us next month with a recommendation?
Yeah, we'll take a look around and see what other communities.
Some of the options we have.
Yeah.
Yeah, find the right container. Proper space.
I know they make them with lids on them, so they don't fill up with water too, so maybe that's enough.
Do any of our pickups involve those round dumpsters that the machines pick up?
Just the one here.
I wonder if we could get a couple more of those for this reason.
Well, if you go through with the dog park, that's what I'm gonna suggest.
Yeah.
The dog park would be something like that. That way we don't have to handle it twice.
Yeah. Well, let's have the Parks Committee do some research on that and come up with a recommendation for us to discuss next month. Thank you for your time.
Well, thanks for listening.
That's open.
Thank you for your patience.
Open container.
I wish we could have timed things better for you and gave you an
I mean, it's
exact
good for
time.
the smell, but it's bad for getting moisture in it.
Okay, let me make sure we've got everything off the first page. Let's go back to item B, approval of regular board meeting minutes from November 16th, 2020. This is one I would imagine you should probably abstain from as well. You weren't, well, he was at the meeting.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'm not sure your vote is gonna matter in the passage of the minutes.
I think you're
I'll
supposed to
let you know what
abstain.
you feel is
I
comfortable.
think you would
I
abstain.
I think it would be safer to abstain.
Yep.
Do we have a motion?
I motion to approve the regular board meeting minutes from November 16th, 2020.
I'll second that.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second to approve the regular board meeting minutes from November 16th, 2020 as presented. If there's no further discussion, let's vote on that motion.
Scott Corning,
Aye.
Gordon McKee,
Same.
Jason Weasey.
Aye.
Travis Kramer,
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Aye. Okay. Item C, discussion and possible approval of a variance for Arlington Public Schools as presented at the hearing.
I make a motion to approve the variance for Arlington Public Schools as presented. And, yeah, that's, I'll leave it there.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the variance request for Arlington Public Schools. There's no further discussion. Let's vote on that motion.
Gordon McKee,
Aye.
Jason
Aye.
Weasey. Travis Kramer,
Aye.
Scott Corning,
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Aye. The signature sheet, was that before the sheriff's? Did I miss it? I must have went right by it. There it is. So this is for our Visa card, right? We need to get,
Oh, we're here.
Get Shelley's name off.
yeah.
She hasn't, she's.
Item E, we need to get our previous clerk off of there. And we need to have, my feeling is we should have two board members, the chair and the vice chair, and Nikki's name on this signature sheet. Unless somebody else wants to. Do we need any other people on our credit card? What do you think, Travis?
I have no feelings either way on that.
Jason, at one time, we had your signature at the bank, but not on the cards, right? Is that it? We had a third signature.
I don't think I ever was ever on
I
it.
thought we had down to 3 when we were worried about.
No, I never went to the signature. I would never put my name on the signature card.
So we just need a resolution with the names.
Allison felt like there should be two board members on
Okay,
everything.
that's my feeling too. I feel the vice chair and the
Yeah,
chair
sounds
should
good to
both
me.
be on the.
I agree.
So we need to read this resolution incomplete and fill in the blanks.
Yes.
Do you have a tax? Do we need to read our tax ID number out loud?
I don't think I'll be good.
No, it's not.
Not in our electronic packet, it's not. It was right before the sheriff's report. And right after the board minutes.
Need a number on it. Oh, she has it in here, I guess. Make a motion for the approval of resolution 12120220C. Stating. Who am I saying the undersigned is? Nikki?
I would state all of our names.
To the undersigned, Travis Kramer, Kraus, Nikki Harry hereby certify that they are the duly elected and qualified officers of the village of Arlington. The following resolutions were duly adopted today. And that the following is a true and correct copy of said resolutions as they appear in the organization minutes book. Result that this company apply for and obtain a business credit card account. Which we're not applying, we already have it. It's just to change the signature card.
Yeah,
And then you guys will just need to sign that. Yep.
I would imagine we would need a second.
I'll second that.
And let's go ahead and vote on that resolution. I don't think we need to abstain.
Okay.
I don't know. What do you think, Jason?
I probably would. Because we'll have three.
It
of us-
doesn't matter, I guess. If
Three of us can make
Yep.
the vote.
Okay.
Jason Weasey,
Aye.
Travis Kramer,
Abstain.
Scott McCormick,
Aye.
Gordon McGee,
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Abstain. All right, monthly library report.
I don't think they
I
met.
see they're getting busier. Travis, did you have any interaction this?
I didn't this month.
Okay.
Have you heard anything on the front desk?
No, it's been really quiet. Matter of fact, I kind of forgot until this, just now because I
It
hadn't heard
seems like
anything
I'm
from
seeing more activity up there though, so that's good. It's getting.
them. They did ask at one time if there was any concern with them putting a strand of lights around the window, Christmas lights. It was like, yeah, no, I don't have a problem with that.
Okay. Washington County permit report. Did anybody have any questions or concerns after reviewing that? Sheriff's report. Mike, do you have anything for us?
I have nothing.
Once again, thanks for being patient and waiting through all the hoopla there in the middle.
That's no problem. Do you have anything for me?
I don't. Does anybody have anything?
Oh, eventually Jason and I will have to probably get a quarterly meeting in, so we'll have to set something up.
Yeah, let's do that in January, then we can get on schedule. How's that sound?
That sounds good.
You guys got my email, so just email
Yeah.
me some dates when you want to meet.
Nikki, how often are you guys meeting? We could meet the off week of when you guys have been meeting. Or have you guys been meeting?
Tabled it for now.
Okay, that's fine. What are you thinking, Scott? Is there a particular?
Pretty flexible.
I'm pretty good the whole month of January. Is there a particular? You like to go up? What time can you be back from work? 6 or 5:30, or do you want to go?
Oh, we can do it. I can always sneak out early, so
Okay.
whatever's good with Mike too.
Mike, does 4:30 work for you, or is that too late for you guys, or?
No, that works for me. Tuesdays would be about the worst day for me, so.
Okay. We'll shoot a date to you.
Sounds good?
Thanks, Mike.
You bet.
Mike,
Thank
Mike, have you had good volume of our meeting the whole time? Have you been able to hear everything?
Yes. Yep, it works great.
Good deal. All right, thank you for your time.
You bet, guys. Merry Christmas.
Yep,
You
you too.
Okay, report from People Services, Inc. We never did get anything from them. James is out with COVID symptoms in the last 4 days, so I did talk to Dwayne Grasshorn. Asked him if he had any concerns. They got the pressure reducing valve replaced. You saw that in our bills from Lane Western. He hasn't had any problems there. He can monitor those pressures remotely, and he said he's been watching those, and everything's going well with the water tower and the new pressure relief valve, or regulating valve. He didn't have any concerns.
Oh, he had one emergency shut off on a Saturday night, which John and I went up there and found the curb stop and got it shut off while the guy's basement was filling. So we beat James to it and got her done.
A week ago or this past Saturday?
No, it was a couple.
My birthday.
Oh, great. Now he wants birthday pay for overtime. Well, thank you for your after hours effort. Did anybody have any concerns for People Service? I was pleasantly surprised at our wastewater bill from Fremont this month. That's about as low as we ever see them at $6,000. So I guess it's hard to tell if we just haven't had any precipitation or if we're actually making headway on some of these manhole repairs as far as the water infiltration, but it's nice to see low numbers regardless, well, whatever reason it is. It's probably time for Travis and I to set up another quarterly meeting, see where we're at. I know we had some requests for those guys to TB lines that we've closed off, like the trailer park, the area where the dog park is potentially gonna go, and make sure that we've got all those sewer lines closed off. So it's time to touch base with them.
Yep.
Oh, we do need a signature from you on that one. Let's go to item J, Street and Parks Report from John Rosenthal.
Well, I do believe that your infiltration problems probably, it's listed first on streets. We did get that repaired, Paul, so that's probably some of it, hopefully.
Yeah.
On Sixth Street. Had to move the riser on the manhole was shifted off, so we moved it over and got it all situated and repoured the sidewalk around it. So hopefully that works out a little better. We did set up the cameras, your lovely cameras in the office. Yeah, so
That system has been working leap years better than what we had previously. If the first one we had, Scott did a bang up job of coming in and doing our last meeting at the last minute with his personal equipment, and we appreciate that, but it's nice to have our own. So
I think it's gonna work out well. I did attend a meeting, me and Tyler both attended a meeting, a Zoom meeting for the floodplain development permitting. I thank you guys for putting me in charge of that, Travis and Paul. It's gonna be a good time, I can tell already. But
I'd much rather pay you overtime than.
thank you, by the way, thank you. Other than that, it's just the normal winter things starting up already. I did speak with that down to the parks where we cut the concrete up to repair that drain valve at the pool. I did speak with the contractor today. He will be here tomorrow. So hopefully we can get that addressed before we get any water into that system and freezes solid, and then we have more problems. So that's some problems. We're gonna pour the concrete down in the dugouts tomorrow for because the K&K fence was in there and got the posts all in. He's planning on getting there. I told him he has to be done by March, whatever the date is for the FEMA projects. With that, I think the next item is gonna be the discussion on the release of the funds for the bathrooms down there, so that's up to you guys.
And what was the amount we had budgeted? Was it 20?
I think it was right around there, yeah, Paul.
Okay,
Whatever FEMA had listed as their.
we budgeted the proper amount. I'm sure.
Yeah, well, we're doing the work, so we're probably over budgeted for it, as opposed to, I think they had it as a contractor.
Yeah.
But I think that Tyler and I can perform most of that work. We may have to get a plumber in there for some of it, but most of it we can perform ourselves.
I think we put this amount in there for it because we had this number when we did the budget.
So we just need a motion to approve the funds for repairs at the Bell Creek bathrooms. This is something that we have to show FEMA that we've made repairs that we've identified so that we can get our 75% reimbursement or whatever it is today. I think it's 75 plus the county splits half of that last quarter with us. So eventually we get 80.
So we need a motion to approve a repair in that amount or motion to release funds in that amount.
Not to exceed that amount.
Not to exceed, because we've got the funds. No, we don't have the funds, but we have to commit to the repairs.
Yeah, I would just commit to the repairs that don't
Okay.
exceed that amount.
A motion to approve repairs not to exceed $18,020.81 on the Bell Creek bathrooms to be partially reimbursed by FEMA.
Second that.
Nikki, we have a motion and a second to approve repairs at the Bell Creek bathrooms in the amount not to exceed $18,020.81. There's no further discussion. Let's vote on that motion.
Travis Kramer,
Aye.
Scott McCormick,
Aye.
Gordon McGee.
Aye.
Jason Weasey. Paul Kraus.
Aye. Item K, clerk's report.
The regular stuff. And then I had the last community code training to learn how to put the ordinances as they're in the works on there, so that once you guys decide on one, I can send it to Paul and he approves it electronically, I approve it electronically, and then it automatically goes into our online ordinances.
And have we made the sheriff aware of how to get to these new online ordinances?
I believe I sent him the link, but I will.
Because I know that's been a concern with those guys. They have a flash drive with something on there.
I will send it to him again.
We'll have to make sure they know how to get to our latest, greatest ordinances.
So we will be able to try that out with these two ordinances that you guys are. Met with Trevor about the cemetery sexton position. And I think he feels a little more confident about doing that. Super glad he took that over. That'll be a smooth transition. John and I met with Gordon and did his orientation.
Did they show you everything?
You could see the water plant?
I think he's still got,
So we have to wait for James.
we're gonna
to
get
come
the
back.
official tour of the water. plant.
I need to get on that.
I want to go that, because I haven't been.
Didn't ever get to go to-
Well, I went on with Buck. I want to see how James has changed it.
Yes, I want to
Because
see
when
it.
Buck, you know how.
Yeah, we'll set it up to where we can.
That was good too. John did a good job.
Thank you.
They showed you the skeletons in the closet?
All of them.
Okay.
Most of them are about you.
You must not scared him too much. He showed up for the meeting.
We've actually had 17 customers pay their bills online so far this month, which I thought was pretty good for the first month of having that really out there. All the tobacco licenses are renewed, all 2 of them,
Where's the Keno at?
the barn.
No, no.
Oh, where's it?
Where's it at in the process?
Actually, they're supposed to be here tomorrow, you said, for design stuff.
She's coming tomorrow to get the final paperwork for that. The state should be approving it any day.
Gotcha.
So
I was just curious.
it should, maybe by the end of the year, I don't know. If not, pretty. Yeah.
Which one with the funds?
Yeah, we gotta cover it. We got $100 hit right away to license it. So we're already $100 in the hole.
2 years, but
Working out, we're gonna have to either reopen an account or open another one.
okay, yeah, I talked to Allison, so we have to go open either a savings or a checking account tomorrow morning.
Okay,
And then I'm just gonna get new signature cards for all of the accounts and then
okay.
good to go. Ready for this next thing?
For the retreat? Yeah,
The barn does not have a party room available. So we may, if you want to be somewhere besides here, we may need to go to the golf club again or something.
I just don't know how people feel. Are we comfortable going to a meeting offsite? Do we want to try and do something in-house? Do we want to cater it? The purpose of a retreat is to kind of feel like you get away and have a little bit of a break from the normal rules and routine to sit down and do some planning. It's still open to the public meeting. We can't refuse anybody from coming, but this is something that the school started doing, and I like it as just a planning meeting. We can go over our strategic plan and see where we're at, what we've done, kind of refresh on, hey, these are the goals we've set and here's what we're working on. What does everybody feel? I mean, if we're sitting here in this room, it's no more cramped in the room over there at the golf club if we do that, but
Are there any regulations that we're breaking by not being in our jurisdiction, having a meeting to the public?
I believe we've checked on that before. We check with Tim again, make sure.
I just don't remember how that stands, that
As long as we have an open meeting and we advertise it, my understanding is that we can have these retreats. I don't think it can be a normal meeting. We
Got it.
can't do our normal business.
okay.
It has to be an in-between meeting that, there's a special reason for having it. It's a retreat meeting, and we would also, I've got a couple of ideas for facilitators for our meeting to give us some interesting things to talk about. I don't know. Did you come up with any ideas, Nikki?
What we were talking about, the only thing I can think of is people from other chambers.
I think we're on the cusp of maybe having a viable group of people to start a Chamber of Commerce. I feel like the people involved in the Christmas lighting ceremony would be good people to have involved in that. I think we could draw in another 10 people real easy as far as a Chamber of Commerce. To me, I think that would be a good thing to have a focus on. We could also have Michael Rooks from the Blair area.
Gateway?
White Gateway, yes. We could have him come and talk to us. I don't know if that would be as informative, maybe I think we've heard a lot of what he's got to say already, but those are two suggestions that just popped out.
I like those. Those are good.
You guys feel comfortable?
Or the Fremont Chamber, she can come out too.
Local.
Yeah.
Or even Jordan from Blair, either one of them. Or maybe we sit down with them and have some kind of a retreat and where we introduce them to some of these new key players that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Have that conversation.
Do you want to have Fremont and Blair Chamber of Commerce or just one?
I don't see a problem having both come. Tell them
Work
that,
together.
Yeah.
See, I know
Yeah.
just-
There won't be any cat fights.
no, I don't think so.
Okay. We won't have to keep them on opposite corners. Okay.
Mm-mm.
So January, do we normally do that? I don't think they like to have Monday events at the club in January.
You're not open on Mondays.
So did we go Wednesdays?
Yeah, you think midweek would work pretty good.
Any night in January works for me.
Yeah, that's fine.
You want to pick a Wednesday that's not on the week of our meeting? Is it the week
6/13,
after or the
27.
week before?
13th, yep, 6th, 13th, or 27th.
I'm okay with either day.
I said we go before our meeting in case there's anything we want to put on the agenda to make an action item on after we have our strategic
Good plan.
plan.
Does January 13th sound good for everyone?
Yep.
Nobody's wife's birthday? Nobody's anniversary? Nobody's dog's gonna get COVID that day?
Maybe.
January 13th. Let's have Nikki check and see if that'll work with the golf club, if everybody's comfortable with that. And we'll try and schedule the chambers to get some representatives for us. I think that's a good idea.
What time do you, I'll find it.
6 o'clock is what we've done in the past. That was filling it in automatically for me when I was looking at it, because I was curious what time we did it, and that's what we've done.
We generally invite the speakers for dinner, have them do their spiel.
And then go over the strategic plan,
And
where
then
we're at.
once they're done, we just kind of go over our strategic plan without them,
I got another speaker idea too.
throw it out.
NRD. I know we had talked about before developing down by the river,
Yeah.
so I don't know. That's been a long time ago, because I remember when Mike Chapa actually came and talked to us for a little bit about it one time.
I wonder
Or not
if,
Mike, the one that passed away. The one that used to be the NRD rep, I can't
yeah,
remember.
Jeff,
God, what was his first name? I'm like, Bill? No.
might have been Bill. I think it was Bill.
I can't remember.
Bill Jet, this is current, right?
Ted is current, yeah.
So, I don't know. I know that's on our plan. We talked about recreational things and that's,
Well, yeah, we could talk about if we got that pond coming in, if it has something to do with that or.
Well, which one would you rather
Properties.
see? I would go for either one.
I think
Does
I like,
anybody have more interest in the,
I think I like the NRD the more I think about it, just because if we get the people that are involved with developing the pond too, or maybe we just
maybe
want
we
the
could
pond
have a
committee to
discussion
come
on the
talk
pond
about it.
and a
Yeah.
river
that's a cool
access.
idea.
I don't know. So,
Can we reach out to the NRD and see if they'd be interested in having somebody that would talk about both of those?
Unless you want Al to come back.
I'm okay with not needing Al's services. Al was he did a great job for us
Right.
in the interim, but
mhm.
That's the only one we had last year, right?
Yeah.
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 What we were really trying to define what the position was gonna be.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of, I was gonna ask you, Deputy Clerk, do we need to go into executive session and discuss anything there or? Okay,
Okay, that's, we don't need to vote on anything for your report. I've been item L, discussion regarding potential business development is a classified information that we've received from a potential business. So I told him we could discuss that in executive session if the board chose to do that. We'll have to vote on that. You guys can stay if you want. We can go in the other room if we do that.
You're fine.
Yeah. We'll go in the other room regardless. If you want to hang around, I don't know that our closed session will last terribly long. If you had something else to talk about.
Have a cupcake on your way out.
Yeah, grab a cupcake. Looks like you could take one for your wife too.
Oh,
So,
thanks.
all right, thank you for your time.
that's how we encourage people to come back to the meetings.
Yeah. We get bored sitting
Take
down
care,
here by
Brian.
ourselves.
Thank you.
Thanks. Did you have anything else for us, Elizabeth, or
No, the judge that was here,
that's Ken Van Pola?
Angola,
Ken Van Pola, VAMPOLA. Kenneth, I believe he goes by, doesn't it? Your Honor, that works too.
I just didn't want to ask him.
Okay. Is there anything else you wanted to go over, John, before we go into executive session? I don't know that you need to hang around for this. I don't anticipate it taking a terrible long.
I'll make a motion to enter into executive session to discuss potential business development. Looking for a second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to go into executive session for the reason of potential business development. What's the word I need to have in there? We have to have a reason for
Strategic.
Confidential.
confidential information.
Travis and I are tied. I goes to the runner.
He was louder.
Vice Chair.
I can't hear Travis in my left ear. I can, it might be my ear too, I don't know. Let's vote on that motion to enter executive session.
Gordon McGee.
Aye.
Jason Weasey.
Aye.
Travis Kramer.
Aye.
Scott Corning.
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Aye. Time is 8:05. If you don't want to stay, I will write down the times and leave the agenda on your desk.
That's the link to your secret.
Chris. Okay.
It's still on.
Know when you've got the mic on.
Filter and red.
Oh, okay.